It's definitely easy to tell that you love what you do from a sales training perspective. If that's your passion and your background, how on earth did you wind up doing also customer service, collections, marketing, and all those other things?
Great question. Customer service really is a natural fit, and I'll tell you why. When I design a sales training, I focus a lot not only on how you interact with a customer, but the words that you use. It may be the only power that you have. So when you get in there and you're working with customer service, and I never will forget one organization. It was an internet company. We went in, and I was brought in to help them, well, save customers. They were bringing them in on one end, and they were leaving on the other. So when I got there that particular day, they're like, I sat down with my client, and she said, hey, what do you want to do today? And I said, well, I'd like to take a couple hours and go and, take calls. And she's like, I don't know if that's a good idea. You really don't know how to work the systems. You don't know the product. You don't know whatever. And I'm like, in all fairness, I don't need to know those things. All I need is somebody to my right, sitting there listening to what's going on in the conversation, and whatever I need to do in the system or whatever answer I need from them, I can always handle the call very well and do that. So they throw us into, I say us, it was myself and another gentleman who had brought me in, and we're in the save group, which is supposed to be the hardest. It's just terrible. These people are mad. They never want to deal with you again. And that particular day, I ran about an 80% save rate. I killed everyone in that department. And where it comes from is this. I don't care what you're doing in life. Everything is sales. If you never get promoted, it's because you're never selling yourself. If you stumble in life and you don't pick yourself up, it's because you're not selling yourself. So when you're in customer service and all you get inundated with all day long is, bam, this service is terrible, bam, this service is terrible, but it's only getting call, your customer service on average gets calls from people that are 2 to 3% of their customer base a month, which means 97% of your customers are very excited. They're happy with what's going on. They only call when they're negative. But the interaction that I always observed, and it's the same thing I see with salespeople. If you don't listen well, you don't respond well. If you think you know everything, oh, here's the customer again, run tape, it's all the same, and you never probe deep enough to get the problem fixed, then you mess it up. The customer gets mad and they leave. Now you hang up the phone calling that customer a jerk, but it's not that they're a jerk. They want their service to work. They want everything to go the way they want it to go, what they were promised. And so many times in customer service, the goal is to get them off the phone quicker. These companies fail and fail miserably because they don't teach their customer service people, number one, how to listen properly, and number two, how to really sell that customer. It is the dumbest thing in the world that you can do. You spend thousands of dollars acquiring that customer, because believe me, salespeople aren't cheap. They aren't. If you've got good salespeople, you're paying a lot of money. So you've got this high acquisition cost, and then you're losing them on the back end. I do some work, or I don't do some work. It's one of my mentors. He has an organization right now where he has an inner circle. And there's 11, 12, 1,300 people in this inner circle at any given time paying $400 a month. So you can see it's an adult number for an individual. Well, his focus is to always acquire new customers. And it's not that he doesn't care that others leave. It's just that one time when he tried to get those customers to stay or keep them, he kind of failed at it. And I don't know what all happened. That's something that I want to probe into. But I'm looking at it, and some of the people that I've met in that cycle have left. And there are certain things that they left for. And if he changed just a few things, he would be able to keep those customers. My whole point there is this. Customer service needs to have a sales mentality. No, you can't hire salespeople as customer service reps. But you should use customer service as a farming ground, because I have seen so many good people come out of customer service that make great salespeople, and vice versa. I've seen good salespeople go into the customer service side that really, they understand both sides. It's amazing if you cross-pollinate in a company where they're doing sales and customer service, it's so much better. But if you'll focus on the customer and realize that revenue that they're letting go out that door is their bonus, it's their promotions going down the road, and get them to realize that if they will just help that customer reach the goal that they're wanting, they wouldn't go anywhere. they have no desire to leave. They don't want to, it's a pain in the butt to change things. So it was a natural fit for customer service. And believe me, when I first got into it, if you don't mind, I want to go a little bit further here. I do this thing called reverse role play, which means, first off, I'll come into when I do a sales training or I do customer service, I immediately go to role play. I'm not a jerk, but I respond literally to what these people say. So if someone asks me, may I ask you a question? I'll say no. And what does everybody do? They go on and ask me a question anyway, or they start begging me to let them keep going. Instead of realizing when they say, may I ask you a question? Number one, it is a question. Number two, you gave me an option of yes or no, and I said no. Now, inside an organization, if that happens, here's what they say. Well, that guy was mean. He was a jerk. He's not someone that I want to deal with anyway. That's not my customer. And that is the stupidest thing I have ever heard. Fix your questions, make the customer feel welcome. They get tired of getting quizzed, and you never listen. None of the questions, I mean, it's so funny when people go, oh, I don't have a script. Yes, they do, and it's generally terrible. So when you're dealing in customer service, no one's called you because they're happy. So instead of saying, why are you leaving? What made you want to leave today? It's a difference between making them defend themselves and just getting them to open up to someone that might actually listen to what you have to say. So when I do reverse role plays, I'll rough you up. That first round, I'm roughing you up. And I do it on purpose so that when they come back at me and now I'm the customer service rep and all they have to do is respond to what I say. That's the only rule I put in a role play. So now I don't say to them, they call in, hey, I'm tired of this. My service keeps dropping. I'll go, okay, well, let me get some information so that I can access your account and we'll see what we need to do to get that fixed. How does that sound? Well, how does it sound? I'm doing what you asked me to do. Sounds great. Less filling. So we go in at that point. I have permission to ask them anything. I don't need to may I and can I. I now need to access their account so I can see what's going on. And while I'm accessing that account, I use it as a good place to interject a conversation. And when that customer starts talking, they start telling me what I need to know because they don't like dead air any more than I do. So while that account officially, quote, is coming up, it may be in front of me. I'm not going to interrupt the man. Let him finish because he's going to give me the information that I need to make him a happy customer. That's what my goal is. And that takes out the tension. And here's what it does for the organization. The customer service rep stays because they're not getting beat up all the time. If you'll look on my website, you'll see a testimonial from a gentleman out of North Carolina. That's exactly how he described his customer service group. And I'm telling you, before we started working with them, those reps were ready to go. They were just taking a pounding from the customer. But when you change the conversation, all you're doing is making customers happy. And customer service people stay. And if they learn how to sell, guess what? They can make more money and get out there and get in the sales world. It's a beautiful thing.